Have you ever felt like life was passing you by, like every day looked the same, and deep down you wondered if this is all there is? That's exactly how James felt, until one small step changed everything. There was once a young man named James who worked long hours at a hardware store. Every day felt the same. Fluorescent lights humming above him, the sound of cash registers beeping, and customers rushing through without ever remembering his name. He smiled, he stocked shelves, he carried boxes heavier than his dreams. But at night, when the store closed and the streets went quiet, James would lie in bed staring at the ceiling. He wondered, is this it? Was this what life had chosen for him? A cycle of days that never changed. Deep down, James wanted more. He didn't know exactly what more looked like, but he knew it had to exist. Yet every time he thought about chasing it, his fear whispered, "Not today, maybe tomorrow." And tomorrow never came. One afternoon, while sweeping near the counter, James noticed an old sticky note someone had left on the bulletin board. The paper was faded, but the words were clear. "You can't steer a parked car." He laughed to himself at first, but the phrase stuck in his head. He couldn't stop thinking about it on the bus ride home. That night, as he scrolled aimlessly on his phone, he thought, maybe I don't need the perfect plan. Maybe I just need to move. The next evening, James laced up his worn-out sneakers. They weren't running shoes, just the same pair he wore to work, but they were enough. He set a timer for 10 minutes and stepped outside. The night air was cool, and the street lights buzzed above him. He started jogging. At first, every step felt heavy. His chest burned, his legs protested, his mind screamed, "You can't do this." But somewhere around the 5th minute, something changed. The rhythm of his footsteps, the sound of his breath, the cool wind on his face. It all came together, like a song. For the first time in years, he felt alive. When the timer beeped, James stopped. He hadn't gone far, but he had moved. He laughed out loud in the empty street. Not because he was proud of his run, but because he had finally broken the cycle. The next day, he ran 11 minutes, then 12. Slowly, running became his ritual. At work, when exhaustion hit, he whispered to himself, "Just one more." One more box carried, one more smile, one more step forward. His coworkers noticed a change. "You look different," one of them said. "Like you finally believe in yourself." James just smiled, though he wasn't sure he fully did. Not yet. Weeks passed. Then one day, James signed up for a 5K race. He wasn't fast. He wasn't polished. But he showed up. At the starting line, surrounded by strangers stretching and bouncing with nervous energy, he felt out of place. But then, the horn sounded, and everyone surged forward. James ran with them, his heart pounding, his fear chasing behind him. Halfway through, he saw a sign held by a kid on the sidewalk. It read, "Run like the person you want to be is waiting at the finish line." James nearly broke into tears, because that was exactly why he was running. By the final stretch, his legs were trembling. Ahead of him, a man began to slow down, almost ready to quit. James tapped his shoulder and said, "Come on, one more step with me." Together, they pushed forward. Not fast, not flawless, but side by side, until they crossed the finish line. When James held the medal in his hand, he realized it wasn't the piece of metal that mattered. It was what it represented. Proof that he could start. Proof that he could finish. A week later, a customer from the hardware store recognized him. She worked at a local community center and had seen him at the race. "We're looking for someone like you," she said. "Someone who understands people. Someone who doesn't quit." James hesitated. His old fears crept in. But then he remembered the words on that sticky note. "You can't steer a parked car." He said yes. On his last day at the hardware store, James scribbled a new note and stuck it to the bulletin board. It read, "Do it badly, then do it better." He hoped someone else would see it, someone stuck, like he once was, and realize it's okay to begin imperfectly. From that day on, James's life didn't magically become easy, but it became meaningful. He started leading youth programs, teaching kids that progress is built on small steps, and that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move anyway. Years later, when asked what changed his life, James always smiled and said, "A pair of old sneakers, a 10-minute timer, and a sticky note." And here's the truth his story carries for all of us. You don't need to be ready. You don't need to know the full path. You just need to move. Take one step, no matter how small. Because once you move, momentum comes. And once you begin, belief will find you, breathless, smiling, apologizing for ever doubting you. So if you're listening right now, wondering if you've missed your chance, wondering if it's too late, remember James. Remember the boy who went from stocking shelves to crossing finish lines, from waiting for tomorrow to living today. And remember the note that started it all. You can't steer a parked car. Take one more step. Determined. Do it badly, then do it better. And trust me, your finish line is closer than you think.
If James's journey moved you, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the Pearls Whisper Tales for more stories that remind us. One step can change everything.